York report says that the EU and G7 countries adopted alternative routes to circumvent sanctions on Russia, which blocked purchase of its crude oil. The report by Center of Research on Energy and Clear Air says Western countries imported around $46 billion worth of oil product from third world countries that acted as a bridge for Russian crude oil. The net result has been an actual rise in terms of quantity in imports of Russian crude oil since the war started. 5 countries, China, India, Turkey, the United Arab Emirates, and Singapore, acted as bridges for purchase of Russian oil by price cap coalition countries. The think tank CREA compared the volume of seaborne Russian oil imports before the war to these laundromat countries, as they are called, and it found that the increased volume was 140% the early quantity. The value of the import stands somewhere near $81.9 billion since the EU crude oil ban until the 1-year anniversary of the Ukraine war. These 5 laundromat countries made up 70% of Russia's crude oil exports. Here's more data putting several nations firmly in the duplicity dock. The largest increased oil exports from laundromat countries is to the price cap coalition nations. The largest importer of oil products from these 5 countries is the European Union. Its oil imports since the war started stands at around 20.1 million tons. Australia was the second largest importer at 9.1 million tons, followed by the United States, Japan, and the UK. Just to remind you, since Russia's invasion, the EU has always been the first to claim that its sanctions are effective in reducing Russia's revenue from fossil fuel exports and how this is hampering Russia's activities in Ukraine. But according to the report, in 2022, China's monthly exports of oil products to Europe and Australia spiked. In December 2022, when the Western price cap came into effect, India was the largest exporter of oil products to the countries, followed by China and the United Arab Emirates. The major oil products being imported into price cap coalition countries are diesel, jet fuel, and gas oil. All right, for more on this, we are joined by Elizabeth Braw. She's joining us live from Washington, D.C. She is a senior fellow at the American Enterprise Institute. Elizabeth, welcome back to WION. So this is a bizarre and uncomfortable report for many countries to read and to come to terms with. Do you think many other countries, notably in the global south, are looking at this and saying, what is going on?
They almost certainly are, and I think we all are. The idea of sanctions in all kinds of sanctions is obviously that they will harm the targeted countries, so that it won't be able to export its whatever it usually exports or import whatever it usually imports. But Russia has demonstrated, and we are seeing in this report, that it's able to keep operating not at full capacity, but it's able to keep operating as an economy, as a country, despite these really serious sanctions that the West has imposed. And what is uncomfortable about this report is that Western countries end up importing a lot of the oil, the energy that we, the West, said we would no longer be importing, or at least we would have this price cap. And what is, I think, really important, Susan, in this report is the role played by the intermediary countries, so the countries from whom the West now officially imports this Russian energy, even though it is originally Russian.
And what is the path forward at this point, considering the fact that this report is out in the open and many are going to say that the reality on the ground is very different from what an idealistic approach to dealing with Russia or Russia's activities in Ukraine are at the end of the day?
And the way forward, I think, is it's going to have to be more of the same. I think that the challenge, though, with these energy imports by capped coalition countries is that it's not that the governments in those countries say, oh, let's keep importing from intermediary countries. It's that companies figure out ways to keep doing whatever it is the nature of their business is, and the massive majority, the vast majority of energy is imported by companies, not governments. So I think the way forward for the CAP coalition countries is really to tell their companies, their private sectors, to be careful where they import from. But who knows whether that will have an effect. Companies always operate on a commercial basis and will buy whatever they consider the best product at the price point between quality and price, or at the intersection between quality and price.
Elizabeth Braw from Washington, D.C., Senior Fellow at the American Enterprise Institute. Thank you so much for joining us on WION.
Thank you.